Hi guys, I am coming to you today from my youngest son's room, and I have it decorated in where the wild things are. So you can see the sign right behind me says, "Let the wild rumpus start." So that's where we're at today because it is kind of crazy at my house with three children running around and me trying to work. But I am going to see if I can give y'all a real quick recap, kind of overview of the schedule. So we have been talking about all of these aspects of project management building up to this schedule, which is part of your individual implementation guide. And it's something you will be working on individually. Of course, I've mentioned this before. You are welcome to work in your groups if you so choose, but it is also the time where you can work solo if you feel like your group has not been contributing the way that you prefer to be working on a final project. So this is some of our highlights from your PowerPoints. Of course, I'm going to let y'all read through your PowerPoints. I'm going to try to give a good overview of the schedule. It is definitely a challenge to build a good schedule. I'm going to click over and you can see the in the module, the Getting Started module, where I highlight the implementation guide. You can see in here we're going to be working to present a calendar formatted schedule. You will be putting actual dates into the calendar format, and the calendar and the schedule is going to merge every single task that you've done from your work breakdown structure. It's also going to include all the responsibility matrix in terms of who's doing what task. And for example, if someone is waiting on another member of their team to complete an item, it should be very indicated in the schedule who is doing what first. You want to think in terms of real dates. The more realistic you can make this, the easier it will be on you. So I know one of my teams has, they're going to be doing an orientation for students on campus. So usually orientations a lot of times take place over the summer or perhaps in August, but a lot of times they can take place I believe, in May and June. So you would want to actually have a realistic schedule for your event. Think about some of your events are one-day events, so it's not as it doesn't have to. You can pick when you would like to complete this project, when you would like to complete your schedule. So, but keep in mind the entire project, the entire program life cycle should be reflected in the schedule. So pre-implementation, that planning, the implementation, and then of course post-implementation evaluation. So we are staying with our phases of the project throughout this entire time. I'm going to click back over to the to our PowerPoint here. I do want to go through some of these so that you can see again, that overview. Scheduling is the step that merges all the work tasks, their relationship to each other, and their estimated durations onto an assigned calendar. A lot of times this is done through technology, right? This is done in, a specific software. Of course, this is not what we have in this class. It's a little bit out of the scope of this class, but I have been really impressed with some of the schedules students have created over the semesters. You will see that this schedule is the chief integration document. It's very important. It merges everything together. It is accounting for absolutely everything. Of course, we have not created all of these documents, but you can see in the real world that many of these documents are compiled together on the schedule so that it is that all-encompassing document where we are looking for everything with dates specified, who is doing what, our risk management plan, as well as our communications plan, which we will be working on. That will be your next group assignment. I do want to make sure that I'm going to highlight here that the schedule really drives the project budget. You're going to be able to see on the project schedule when things are due for cost. For example, if a bill is coming up, you will also, that is something that is absolutely highlighted with the project schedule. It's it drives the project budget, and we'll be doing a budgeting exercise a little bit later, probably a little bit later this week, next week. I will I will highlight here that should represent every single bit of work that should be done, and it should also be realistic. Many times, kind of construction companies are very common. They underestimate the completion time that something will be done. As you get older, you'll probably have, friends who are involved in anything that's, a house being built. Maybe their apartment complex is going to be open in a certain amount of time, but many times construction companies will vastly underestimate how long something will be completed. They'll be like, it'll be 9 months, and then turns around and it will be completed up until 18 months later. And so you want to make sure that it is very realistic. It also, you are keeping your stakeholders happy with your schedule, and it should be multiple people should have a look at the schedule. All right, let me make sure that I'm going to skip down here and looking at steps for developing the schedule. Obviously, we've created our work breakdown structure. That is that's our first step, as we highlighted on the exam, as well as you can see right here. You're also going to be estimating those the work that how long it will take for each task, and that's something we did also in the work breakdown structure. When you are developing the schedule, you want to see what tasks can be done together. For example, if you're booking a venue and also creating a flyer, can those things be done simultaneously? This is where the schedule comes in, so that you can give a realistic picture on how long something like this would take, as well as with your manpower, the amount of staff that you have. And you want to see what can be done at the same time, because that is just one more thing that you can condense your schedule more. I'm going to skip down here. You want to perform that reality check. That's also very important. Is this realistic? Does this make sense? Can anything be more consolidated? You want to see if you can shorten it in any way. You want to make sure that you're accounting for any kind of risks. Remember, we talked about making sure you always have a time buffer. So just because you think something is going to take 5 hours, in reality, it may take 2 days. I often use the example of any type of technology, especially if you are new with some type of software. If you are editing a document, I've done this before with creating flyers, creating any type of marketing materials, where I thought that it would take a short amount of time. In reality, it took a lot longer, just to make it look professional, make it look presentable, so that it was ready to go out to a variety of stakeholders. Of course, you want more than one person to be involved with finalizing that schedule and making sure that it is a team consensus and multiple stakeholders are looking at it. Sequencing the work. This is something that is very important. You want to look at what can be done first. Absolutely. Remember, go through each sequence of your phases of your project. Look in the planning. What needs to be done first? What can be done at the same time? Looking at that work visually is also super important. When we've talked about the work breakdown structure, many of you chose the graphic approach model for that, and you may be able to easily see what can be done first, and even just ranking your tasks and looking at what can be done simultaneously is very important. So that is about 8.5 minutes of me talking. I'm hoping that gives you an overview of the schedule. Make sure that you are going through the individual, you can see here, the individual implementation guide. Again, I am completely fine if you are working together in your group to complete this, but you will submit an individual implementation guide, and you can read through this and find the calendar format with real dates. And you are going to be responsible for finding a template and making sure that we merge all tasks for your final project. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day. Thanks.